What's going on, guys? In this video I'm going to go through e-commerce branding and how you can stand out in a crowded market. But this is mainly through a single thing that I see a lot of brands kind of mess up on, and that's their branding. My name's Zachary, I'm from Ocean Break Media, and in this video we're going to basically do this rundown, like I said, of taking you through how to brand your clothing brand. And we actually left a link down below for any clothing brands, whether you're just looking to get started or whether you're just looking to scale from 10K, 20K, 50K a month, it doesn't matter, but we left a link down below. You can schedule a call with us, and this is a business diagnosis to actually break down your business and see how we can run paid ads for you. So a huge problem that I see with a lot of brands is actually how they brand their clothing brand. And I'm going to get deeper into this in this video, but it's what they see as a resemblance, when they're selling to their audience. They think they should sell to everybody and anybody that comes across their brand, and that's absolutely not the case. You want to choose a specific audience, and actually in a clothing brand, so e-commerce in general, that's a big topic, but in those is niches. So clothing brand is a niche in the e-commerce world, but in clothing brand, another niche that's in clothing brand are little niches, micro niches, which are things like gym or gymnastics or running or swimming or basketball, any type of basically physical activity, most likely, because you're wearing it, or maybe it's an event that you would go to, so wedding or something like that. There's different events and niches in clothing brand. So imagine like a huge funnel goes down from e-commerce to clothing brand to then niches in clothing brand. You have to choose a niche in the clothing brand industry to actually niche down into and target your ads towards them. Now when you're branding, you want to make content that resembles this. So you want to make content that shows your brand. Let's say you have a gym brand, you want to show people lifting weights in your clothing or lifting weights, it doesn't matter, but anything that relates to that niche that you picked in the clothing brand. When you do this, it builds a brand around your audience, and it builds it around your content too, just by posting this content that relates with your audience. So when they see your product, they'll actually go forward and purchase it. When you're branding for a clothing brand on your Instagram and Facebook, which for most brands, I'd actually recommend Facebook just because there's such a particular niche on there of people who are more likely to buy your clothing. When you're actually publishing on Instagram and making these ads, most likely you're going to publish on Instagram when you're actually pushing these ads out. So let's say you pick Instagram. You want to start with Instagram, you want to grow your Instagram, and you want to get a ton of followers and a huge audience that's actually specified towards your product and your niche in the clothing brand industry. Now when you're setting up your page, you want to make it look extremely professional. This is a big problem I see with a lot because it's not scalable if it's not professional. That's a huge quote I guess I would definitely keep in mind. It's not scalable if it's not professional. And this is meaning, if you have a page that's not set up well, there's not a good profile picture, it's not clear to understand what you're selling and what your audience can relate to, people actually aren't going to go forward and buy the product. And obviously you want sales, so this is a key factor you want to take in when you're actually setting up your profile. As of content, it really depends on how you want to base your brand. If you're selling a cheap product to a wide audience, then your actual product doesn't have to be as complicated and as sophisticated as whether you have, a luxury brand, you're trying to come off as luxury. Also your content, not only your product, but your content doesn't actually have to be as complicated as those brands that are selling a cheaper product to a larger audience. Because when you have a luxury product, obviously your niche and your audience is going to be so much smaller just because people can't afford it as much. So, you're going to have a much smaller audience, but that audience, it's a higher ticket item, so you don't have to sell as much to actually make the same profit. Let's say they have to sell 200 items before you just have to sell, let's say, 50. So making the same profit, you only have to sell 50 items, they have to sell 200. So when you're building your brand, you want to make your content based on how you want to present your brand. If you're coming off as luxury, you want to have good content, you want to have quality content that is luxury. Videos are 100% a key factor to take in. If you're trying to make and come off as luxury, I would 100% make videos because that's it's something that's hard. Not a lot of people want to put in the work. So when you make high quality videos that captures people's attention, that's coming off as a luxury brand. And if you're coming off just as a regular brand even, it doesn't have to be anything complicated, but if you're coming off as a regular brand, you can just post images, not just of clothing, just a picture of clothing, but clothing on people. And I'll get into this a little further. When people see their clothing, on other people, which is what you should do for those luxury brands too, videos of your clothing on people, they can kind of relate to those people. So if you eventually get influencers, your audience can relate to those influencers, and now they're not buying your product because of you or your friends. Now they're buying it because an influencer that you kind of hooked up with. And maybe I'll make a video on that pretty soon actually, about influencers. So let me know down in the comments if you'd definitely be interested in that. when you hook up on an influencer, this influencer, let's say they're a big influencer, we're just going to use a gym clothing brand for this example. Now they're not selling only to your audience, but all the people that relate to that big influencer, you're basically taking their audience too. So now you just have such a huge audience when you get an influencer for your brand. So like I said, it's about branding. So if you're trying to come off in that certain way, branding is like the number one thing in any clothing brand, is how you brand. I mean, it literally has the name in it, clothing brand. It's a brand. So that's like the strongest thing you want to build in your business if you're actually running a clothing brand, is your brand. So using an influencer as part of your branding is extremely helpful, because you're not only selling to your audience, like I said, you're selling to their audience. So now you basically have maybe triple the audience, just because their audience might be so much larger. And when people see that, oh, this person wears it, and maybe they're a huge influencer, now their audience is going to buy it just because this influencer wears it. Eventually, when you're getting so many sales in just from this influencer, now you can go and branch off to other influencers. And this is where you actually build that community and a brand. When you build a huge brand like this and you have a community of these huge influencers, this is where the money starts to come in, and you have a $10 million business idea. So now you have this huge brand, you have influencers, from all around the world who are wearing your brand and selling to their audience. So now imagine you have your audience plus their audience, but now their influencing audience is now yours, because you're selling to their audience. And that now makes it your audience too. So now you just have this huge audience, and it's not just a huge audience in the clothing brand, but let's say your niche is, like I said, gym. So you have this huge gym niche, but now you're selling to a bigger portion of this gym niche just because you have these influencers and people who relate to the gym community. And just a reminder for any clothing brands or e-commerce businesses that actually are interested in scaling, we left that link down below where you can schedule a call with us, whether you're just looking to get started or you're looking to scale from 10K, 20K, 50K a month. It really doesn't matter, but we left that link down below. You can schedule a call with us. That's it for now, and we'll see you in the next one.